Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Right now at 5, President Trump making plans for a possible rally this weekend, 10 days after his diagnosis with COVID-19. What his doctors say about his condition, plus the status of next week's presidential debate coming up.
The Gulf Coast is preparing this morning as Hurricane Delta hurtles towards an already battled cities in Louisiana. The potential damage coming up.
Plus, helping local students set their sights on the skies. The Edwards Air Force Base Air Show takes off this morning. We'll tell you how you can watch the high-flying fun. This is Friday, October 9th, 2020. Good morning. Good to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen, along with Taylor Schaub in this morning for Alex, because Alex is on special assignment headed to that air show.
And I'm so excited for him to show us what's coming up with this air show. I'm a huge Top Gun fan, always been a fan of these air shows, the Blue Angels, of course, flying over the Bay Area where I grew up. So I am so excited to see that later on our show.
Yeah, we're going to take you there live in a little bit. But first, we're beginning with national news this morning because Hurricane Delta is building and barreling toward the Gulf Coast. The massive storm expected to make landfall this evening, and once again taking aim at southwest Louisiana, an area that has seen a record number of strikes during what's been an unprecedented hurricane season.
Yeah, Maddie, Lafayette is one of the cities in the center of the projected path of the storm, and Jay Gray joins us now with the latest from there.
Hey there, good morning, and we're just along the banks of the Vermilion River, which runs through the center of Lafayette. This time tomorrow, this area likely will be underwater. Right now, we've seen a bit of a spitting rain this morning, but nothing real serious. Of course, that's all going to change, and pretty quickly today as this storm moves in.
Taillights line Interstate 10 for miles overnight. Families trying to get away from Delta as hurricane hunters fly into the storm. Lightning near the eye, an indication the massive system is still gathering strength.
It is expected to be a major hurricane as we wake up Friday morning.
Targeting Louisiana again. Delta will be the 4th named storm to make landfall in the state this year. Laura was the worst of them. A violent Category 4 hurricane ripping apart Lake Charles just 6 weeks ago. Damage and debris still litters the city as they prepare now for another hit.
And now landfall is forecasted in almost exactly the same area as landfall occurred with Hurricane Laura.
Hundreds of thousands are getting ready along the Gulf Coast. Forecasters say the hardest hit areas could see wind gusts over 100 miles an hour and more than a foot of rain.
Scary. It's very scary.
A fear that's become way too familiar in this storm-ravaged state.
You know, a lot of people here will also tell you they're just plain tired. Storm and COVID fatigue stretching everyone thin, and now adding to the frustration, they've got to deal with Delta. In Lafayette, Jay Gray, 17 News.
So we're still kind of waiting to see what happens once it makes landfall later on today. But Moses Small is in this morning for Kevin, and he's been tracking the path a little bit. Moses?
Absolutely. Fortunately, we do not have to deal with the effects of Hurricane Delta here, but we have some more information about the storm barreling towards Louisiana right now. So when we take a look at the path of this storm, it's heading right towards the Gulf Coast. And we have to remember that this area saw the destruction of Hurricane Laura, losing part of the state's power grid as well as tens of thousands of homes. So right now, the main concern for them is storm surge, also known as flooding, which is expected to get in excess of 11 feet in certain isolated areas. And looking over towards the Kern River Valley, it's going to be a cool weekend, and thankfully we're looking at fall-like conditions stretching all through the weekend before it rebounds next week. We do still have an air quality alert here in Kern County, but the air is clearing up. As you can see, we have a whole 8 miles of visibility, and if you remember yesterday, that's a jump from just a day ago. Bakersfield sitting at 59 degrees right now. We're going to see those temperatures start to lift up in the afternoon into the high 70s, approaching the 80s. And Tehachapi is considerably cooler right now, just 50 degrees. Still that wonderful visibility, 8 miles. So you'll be able to see stars tonight, and we're noticing the haze lifting from the past couple of weeks. And for our mountain forecast, we are in one of the chillier parts of the morning, but we're going to see those temperatures rebound in the afternoon, getting all the way up into the 70s today. So it's a great time to break out all the jackets and all the sweaters you've been saving all summer.
All right, thank you, Moses. A person was hospitalized after being thrown from their vehicle during a crash in Northwest Bakersfield. It happened around 6 last night at Fruitvale Avenue and Snow Road. Witnesses told police the driver of the silver car was being reckless and pulled in front of the white box truck. The driver of the car was not wearing a seatbelt and was thrown from the vehicle. The driver was taken to the hospital with major injuries. 17 Crime Watch now. We're still waiting on updates this morning on a shooting in Rosamond that left one person dead and another wounded. It happened at a home on Sequoia Lane near Fernwood Street just before 4:30 Wednesday afternoon. Sheriff's deputies found one man dead inside the home with obvious signs of trauma. Another man was treated at the hospital and released. No word on what led up to the shooting, though. If you have information, call KCSO at 861-3110, or you can remain anonymous by calling the Secret Witness Hotline 322-4040. By our account, this is the 100th homicide in Kern County this year.
In national news now, Kyle Rittenhouse, the teen accused of shooting and killing two protesters in Kenosha, Wisconsin, is expected to appear for an extradition hearing later today in Illinois. Rittenhouse is fighting his return to Wisconsin to face homicide charges that could put him in prison for life. Rittenhouse's attorney, John Pierce, said that he intends to fight extradition during his hearing later today. But a Lake County, Illinois judge is expected to make an immediate decision on the extradition issue. And a second night of protests in Wisconsin as outrage continues over the decision not to charge a police officer in the fatal shooting of Alvin Cole. Cole, a 17-year-old, was shot back in February by Officer Joseph Mensa. Police cracked down on protesters last night, saying demonstrators were breaking the city's 7 p.m. curfew order. Several arrests were made, including Alvin Cole's mother, Tracy, and two sisters. An attorney for the Cole family says that after Tracy was detained, she was taken to a local hospital with an injury to her arm.
There's nothing I can say right now. Basically, I'm out the hospital. I'm letting everybody know that I'm all right.
Yeah. She's gonna go home and rest.
I'm finna go home and rest.
Yeah.
The Cole family says they're anxiously awaiting a decision from police and the fire commission about whether the officer involved in Alvin's death will be able to stay on the force.
5:07 is your time now, and to the latest on the coronavirus pandemic in Kern County. Yesterday, Kern Public Health announced 67 new cases and no new deaths. Over 32,000 people have tested positive for COVID-19 since March. 387 people have died. Right now, there are almost 11,000 people isolated in their homes, while 46 patients are being treated in local hospitals. A reminder, you can get a free test at multiple sites across Kern County. There will be a free COVID-19 mobile test site today at Heritage Park in East Bakersfield from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And there are free test sites all over the county. Just head to doineedacovid19test.com to find a location and schedule. If you've used that site before, you can sign back in, and it will make it a lot easier to schedule another test and see your results. You can also schedule by calling 211 or going to kerncounty.com.
Well, today is the big day. The powerful roar of jet engines will echo across Kern County as the Edwards Air Force Base Air Show takes off. The base is taking a hybrid approach to this year's air show, running virtual events all week leading up to today's main attraction, with aircrafts flying as low as 1,000 feet over towns and cities in the Golden Empire. The flight window over Bakersfield is between 11:20 and 12:35. For more information, head over to avairshow.com.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
In your 17 Business Watch now, it's a new age for breakfast as plant-based sausages head to your local grocery store. Beyond Breakfast Sausage is Beyond Meat's latest plant-based meat alternative to enter the grocery store. The fourth new product this year, and these links are designed to deliver the same taste and texture as pork-based links, but they'll be sold in a meat case at a suggested retail price of $5.99 for 8 links. And as the election looms closer, you may be noticing more calls, emails, ads, and ramping up this year, but you will also maybe noticing these political texts. Liz McLaughlin shows us how they got your number and how you can opt out.
I did not create the rules for tonight.
Just weeks before Election Day.
He said he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
The campaign is intensifying.
This is a left-wing directive. This is a left-wing.
And so are efforts to reach voters digitally.
If there's a screen in front of you, the campaigns are going to use it to reach out to you, whether it's television, whether it's social media, right through your telephone and text messages.
Texts are particularly potent because the average American checks their phone about 100 times per day. So local and national campaigns are increasingly relying on texts to get the message out.
I get them like maybe 2 times a week.
They're kind of annoying.
Some are even calling this year the texting election. The Trump campaign alone said it will send out more than 1 billion text messages by Election Day. Now texts from both political parties are flooding phones for voters who never signed up to receive them.
So unfortunately, at some point, you probably unwittingly gave up your information.
Whether it was for a survey, app, or retailer, often that data is sold to third parties, including campaigns that match it up with public voter information. And as long as there's a human on the other end, unsolicited texts are legal. But there is a way to opt out.
It's actually fairly easy. If you get a text message that you don't want, you can just reply stop, and they are obligated to stop sending you messages going forward.
But only from that particular number. You may still continue to get political texts from a different source. Liz McLaughlin, NBC News.
Back here at 524 in entertainment news, 17 News' Rick Bentley examines the revival of a popular 90s kids show that could scratch that nostalgia itch.
Well, this week I was able to find a suggestion for some entertainment for you that's not only fun to watch, but could also spark an interest in reading. Ghost Rider on Apple TV Plus is an updated version of the 1992 series about a group of friends who learn an appreciation for books while dealing with ghosts. I had a chance to talk with actors Hannah Levinson and Justin Sanchez, plus writer Luke Matheny, about the show.
What are the key elements that make this show work?
I say the key elements are that they're in what you just said, that how all these 4 people can meet up randomly due to a ghost who is trying to tell us something and make a huge bond, a huge friendship, and go on these mysteries, learning new things.
All of the characters are very different, but I think viewers at home can always relate to the characters in different aspects, in different ways, and so you don't get that in every show, and that's what makes Ghost Rider really special.
How do you describe your character?
I say Curtis is he's definitely that kid that you want on your team, especially in our gang where we find all these mysteries.
They kind of, in a way, depend on each other. Donna, she's really determined and very resilient, and she doesn't let many things get in her way. And she knows how to stand up for herself.
Let's figure out what book she's from.
How about Dragons Love Tacos? Remember that one?
I doubt Ghost Rider's unfinished business is taco related.
You never know.
We're all sort of, stuck in this kind of family experience anyway. If you have kids and you're stuck at home. So I think a program like this that has kind of a mystery component, but then lots of comedy in it and lots of kind of warm emotion. I think it's just nice to sit with your family and experience a wide range of emotions together, especially when it's all kind of grouped around the subject of reading, which everyone, is in favor of.
You find that you're reading more or you're reading less?
Ghost Rider has taught me how to really picture the world that you're reading in real life. Like while filming, we had to picture, for example, the rabbit that wasn't really there, but we had to see a clear image of that. And so now while reading, I know how to imagine these different characters, and it really helps.
Thanks a lot, and congratulations on the show.
Thank you so much.
Look, I highly recommend the new season of Ghost Rider that's now available on the streaming service. Look for more on new programming at kgt.com. Rick's Reviews.
5:32 is your time now. 17 News is your local election headquarters. President Trump already making plans for the weekend after getting the all clear from his doctor to return to public events tomorrow. But he's refusing to be part of next week's now virtual presidential debate. Tracy Potts explains why.
Hi, Maddie. Good morning, everyone. The Trump team is complaining that the debate commission never asked about the president's health, but went out on their own to take this next debate virtual. The president suggests he might get another COVID test today. We've yet to see a negative one, but he insists that he is not contagious.
I'm in great shape.
President Trump's doctor says he can come out of isolation tomorrow, 10 days after his COVID diagnosis.
We want to do a rally in Florida, probably in Florida on Saturday night.
He's refusing to attend next week's debate, now virtual since the president was infected.
I'm not going to do a virtual debate, sit behind a computer screen. I don't think I'm contagious at all.
He's urging the debate commission to push the last 2 debates 1 week, but do them in person.
We set the dates. I'm sticking with the dates. I'm showing up. I'll be there. And in fact, if he shows up, fine. If he doesn't, fine.
We still don't know when the president last tested negative, indicating who else may have been exposed. At least 27 people connected with the White House or his campaign have tested positive. The president wants the debates and the stimulus talks delayed. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is rejecting his demand to deal with COVID relief piece by piece.
Let me just be really clear. I have been very open to having a single standalone bill for the airlines or part of a bigger bill. But there is no standalone bill without a bigger bill.
Today, Pelosi's introducing a measure to create a 25th Amendment Commission to decide if the president is fit to serve. That cluster of coronavirus cases connected to the White House, it's growing. Now another member of the White House press corps, a 4th member, has tested positive. I'm Tracy Potts, 17 News.
Bakersfield Congressman and House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy joined 17 News at 5 to discuss Wednesday night's vice presidential debate and the possibility of another anticipated debate between President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden. That was just one of the topics, though, discussed last night, with McCarthy also addressing the coronavirus relief bill, saying that Speaker Pelosi is the one responsible for slowing down the process. He also addressed concerns about whether the president would commit to a peaceful transfer of power if he were to lose the election.
Yes, there's no doubt whatsoever, and myself in my position will guarantee that it's a peaceful transfer. That is what democracy is about. That's what sets this nation apart from all the others.
You can catch the full interview on our website, kget.com.
Now to a local election with the 2 candidates running for mayor of Alvin taking part in a debate here at our KGET studios. City Council member Olivia Trujillo is running against incumbent mayor Jose Garola. 17's Perla Shaheen and Telemundo's Jose Gaspar served as moderators for the debate, which covered a variety of topics including COVID-19 and trying to stop the spread.
I was part of the with the code enforcement officer. The first one, they went out business to business, door to door, and we passed out 4,000 masks to the businesses. And as we were passing out the masks, we were putting on posters, no mask, no business.
And we realized that the numbers in Alvin were up. That's when we took action, and we were able to adopt the mask ordinance first with employees, then extend the governor's mask mandate, and we've sent out mailers to the community.
Have the money, revenue for the city, then to be able to hire officers. But at this point,
you can watch the Alvin mayoral debate in its entirety on our website, kget.com.
Now in your 17 Court Watch, a man charged with dismembering his cellmate at Corcoran State Prison could avoid being tried for that murder. Jamie Ozuna is charged with killing Luis Romero. At a court hearing yesterday in Hanford, 2 psychologists filed reports saying that Ozuna may not be mentally competent to stand trial. One psychologist points out Ozuna refused to be interviewed, so the findings were based on older records. There will be another hearing in December where both experts will testify. In these situations, defendants are usually sent to a state hospital for treatment if they're found to be incompetent. Ozuna was already serving a life sentence for killing a Bakersfield woman. And we took a deep dive into Ozuna's life in our award-winning podcast, The Man with 1,000 Faces. Just go to a Man with 1,000 Faces podcast.com for our full report.
5:37 is your time now, and in state news, Disney continues to urge Governor Newsom to let them reopen parks in California. But the governor's office says it's not happening anytime soon. The governor's office originally planned to release its plan to reopen parks last week, but curtailed those plans after pushback from companies about the requirements. The proposed guidance would have let the theme parks reopen at 25% capacity once the counties where they are located reach the lowest level for virus transmission in the state's 4-tier reopening system. But for now, it's back to the drawing board, with Deadline reporting earlier this week that Governor Newsom does not see parks opening in the immediate future. In a letter to employees, Disney Parks CEO said California's unwillingness to lift restrictions that would allow Disneyland to reopen have exacerbated the company's recent financial struggles. Disney plans 28,000 park-related layoffs, with a total estimated job loss for Florida employees expected to total more than 15,000. Florida parks reopened this summer. Welcome back here at 5:43 on this Friday, and we have an update on the wildfires burning up and down our state as the largest wildfire in state history. That's the August Complex Fire rages on in the Mendocino National Forest. It has burned more than 1,020,000 acres as of this morning. It is 65% contained. And containment on the Creek Fire east of Fresno still at 49% this morning. The fire has burned more than 330,000 acres, and these and other fires have been pumping smoke into the air over the past several weeks, pooling into the valley, being trapped by our mountains and affecting our air quality. The majority of Americans plan to get a flu shot this year, but continued misconceptions could keep many others from being vaccinated. A new survey from Walgreens shows 72% of Americans say they will probably or definitely get a flu shot this season. In fact, more than half of respondents said they're more likely to get the vaccine this year because of COVID. However, 30% of those who don't plan to get vaccinated mistakenly believe the flu shot can give them the flu. The same proportion falsely think taking antibiotics can cure influenza.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.